roadkill, we did the hurricane swap. It would piss people off, like, why did you use a Demon? And it's like, well, I had the car. Holy shit, this is the Grand Tour. One of the producers of the show called me and was like explaining what they wanted to do. I'm like, we're in like the renaissance of like the ultimate horsepower cars.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Minnoxide podcast. I'm your host, Harris, aka Minnoxide, man of many automotive aspirations, and I'm here with my Ford-loving co-host, Dan.
Yep.
Gun at Garage. Did you notice I dropped the Mister the last 2 times?
Did you?
Yeah, it was too confusing for me.
Is that not formal enough?
Yeah, it's not formal enough.
Yeah. All right.
And today we are at 5 o'clock Garage. We are continuing our Detroit trip, and this one's kind of been a long time coming. We met you, what was it, SEMA?
I think so.
Yeah, we were introduced by Justin White.
Every time we run into you, things get a little blurry, so I'm not sure where it was when.
But yeah, go ahead and tell us what 5 o'clock Garage is. You got a lot of fun toys back here. You have done some very cool projects. Yeah, just take it from there. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll see where we go.
Oh, where to begin? So 5 o'clock Garage, it's evolved. So I started this company just over 4 years ago. And originally I started in the graphics printing world. And so we do licensed graphics for Stellantis. So I came up with the idea to do, like, I was always like a Jeep enthusiast. And I was like, started doing research and I'm like, no one's licensed Jeep graphics. So I'm like, let me put a pitch deck together. Put a pitch deck together, gave it to Tim Kiniskis at the time. Saw him at a car show, literally kept the deck in my car. And I was like, if I run into him, I'm gonna show it to him. Showed him the proposal and he's like, let's do this. Next day, I was on the phone with one of his guys, which was a Sunday, which was awesome. And then started the process. And getting contracts to OEMs is a treat. It took me 2 years to get everything signed, sealed, delivered. But yeah, so the big thing about our business is, so we are a full print shop, whether it's, graphics, full wraps, design work, and then we've evolved into a bunch of other printing to like anything in the print industry. And we're getting ready to grow again into like the apparel world. So kind of stars aligned and just made sense to keep growing our printing operation. But on top of that, we grew into the custom car world. So it was really cool. Once I kicked off kind of the Jeep graphic side of things, I was working with Jeep's design studio at the time, and we were doing some prototype designs. And so the head of Jeep design at the time, Mark Allen, had come to my shop and he had saw that I actually had some Jeeps. And he's like, oh, you're really into this. He's like, did you build that? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, how'd you feel about doing some of our concept work? And that's kind of where it kicked off, which was super cool. And so the first vehicle we did with them was the 20th anniversary Rubicon 392. And then we've been doing work with them ever since. So it's been a kind of unique niche business. So we specialize in not only the graphics, but doing a lot of the wraps for the OEMs. And so whether it's, vehicles for commercials, shows, ads, and then into, cars that go to shows like SEMA. We're involved with almost every Mopar SEMA project, everything for Easter Jeep Safari, and then random shows throughout. And then once we started doing that, then it turned into even more custom work. And my previous shop was 4,000 square feet. And within that 4,000 square feet, once you guys got to see my printing facility, it takes up a lot of room. I mean, my print shop's as big as my old shop. And there were, we had it stuffed with cars. And so it's kind of evolved into kind of like multiple parts of our business to where, yes, we're doing graphics, design work, wraps, but also modifying cars too. And so then the opportunity came to acquire this building. We're over 30,000 square feet. And now, we're growing into different segments of print, but also modifying cars. And my big thing is like, I love the OEM work. Like it's fun to be able to work on the new stuff, work with designers, but also like be the first ones to drive the new stuff. And so it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. Like I never thought, starting a graphics business would turn into the rest of this. And then just being an automotive enthusiast, like I get to work with the guys who created these cars. And I work every other week. I'm working with designers and get the opportunity to, acquire these cars, use them, have fun with them. It's kind of I have my dream job.
Right.
Like I get to wake up every day and do what I love. Like if there's stressful weeks, yeah, we deal with them. Just had one. But I get to have a lot of fun too. You know, it's not only my business, but it's my hobby, and being able to combine both is the best thing ever. Do I get a lot of time to play with my own stuff? No, but it's there.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what this building is. It's evolving, but we moved in here. Like I got the building to move in about a year ago, and this was originally an ice rink, and so the rink was still here. So taking all that down, updating this building, I think is 50, 60 years old now, but it's got great guts. Like it's an iron building, it's clear span, and so like updating electrical, getting everything set up in the back, getting all this set up. Like we're about to start, a bunch of construction up here so that I can bring in another side of our printing. And so it's a lot of work. I wear a lot of hats every day, whether it's, working with our customers, the OEMs, dealing with, issues with, manufacturing. It's a fun thing.
Well, it's a cool spot too. Are you going to keep any of like the ice rink vibe here, or is that all going to go away?
So the floor, I'm going to keep. As you guys have seen, we've had a little bit of fun in here.
You've already made it your own.
Yeah. So I definitely want to keep, like, I love the way it looks from the rink. Like it gives that automotive vibe. We've done quite a few burnouts in here, but no, I don't.
Show me some. Do you have any photos of it?
I mean, are we going to update? Oh yeah, I can send you some good videos. I mean, I'm going to update like lighting and stuff like that just to bring it up to today's standards. But I don't really want to get rid of what this originally was because it's such a unique building.
It's really cool. For lack of a better word, vibe.
Yeah.
Like I can only imagine how smoky it's gotten in here.
Yeah, that's kind of an understatement.
Well, I just wish you were telling me that the lights over there don't work. It would have been cool to have those strobing with the smoke.
They worked.
Okay.
For a minute. And then when this was like, because it went from an ice rink to a roller rink, and so the computer that ran those was mid 90s, and like it worked, but I think when we were doing electrical and like killed power, it fried the computer. And so now it's like they were cool, but. I mean, now with today's, I want to get a few disco ball and a few laser lights, and this will be even better.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Some Govee lights in here, do everything from your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were working with the designers and stuff at Stellantis, and do you guys have designers on staff too? Like, do you bring some of your guys' touch to a lot of that stuff too when you're doing that?
Yeah. So it's cool because like working with their designers, like they'll send us like renderings and designs, and then through our technology with our printers, I'll kind of add our touch to it. And so one of the things that I've figured out over the last few years is how to 3D print graphics to make them textured and create cool designs. Like I've 3D printed like a wood graphic, and it looks and feels like wood. And there's been graphics that we've done with some of like the SEMA concepts to where it'll be 3D printed on there, so you can actually go up and like feel it, and like it's almost like embossed, but it's printed in.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And then like it's been done a lot with like kind of staying on top of like printing to where like one of the unique things that our printers can do is print gloss and matte at the same time.
Okay.
And so like a lot of people within like the graphics world will layer graphics, and I want to keep everything on one layer just because you end up with a better product.
Is that what you were working on, that like glass piece, like the Helltrax piece? Is that what that was?
So that's actually going to go on Cletus's truck.
Okay.
Snowed in.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, and so that was an American flag, and we took the stripes and then changed them from gloss to matte.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And that's all just in one go, just on the printing
print.
side?
Yep.
Wow, okay. That's really cool, because like that's one of the issues, like when we would do like liveries on the rally cars, like you would have to layer it. Like I think there was like some Crown Rally car that had like 7 layers.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the unique part of what we can do is, and a lot of it comes to the materials that you're using, because most of the time, like with a graphic, you print it and then laminate it. But if you get into, like, we use a lot of UV technology, and so as a print's coming out, it's fully cured, ready to go, and scratch resistant. And so then we can run a little bit thicker material that'll hold up.
Okay. Do you have like a particular brand that you work with on that side, like 3M, Avery?
So we work from the wrap side, real partial to like KPMF, Orkel, Avery, APA, use some 3M. And then on the print side, all of our stuff comes from a company called Substance.
Okay, gotcha.
And so been using them for the last 2 years, and it's honestly I think the best print material out there.
Okay. Do you want to touch on this event that you're going to or leaving for in like 2 days?
Snowed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So got invited to go to Snowden last year with Hell Tracks, and you know, like heard of the event. You know, like I said, like not much of like a YouTube watcher, but I'm getting into that world. You know, I've been very fortunate to meet a lot of the YouTubers, influencers out there, and collaborate with them. And now we're moving into that, just because we're having a lot of fun. And so last year I got to meet Sparks and hang out with those guys, and really hit it off. And so they invited us back this year, and I'm actually bringing my own truck this year that we're going to debut the new set of Hell Tracks on. So we've got a single track, and then we modified my TRX to make 1,000 horse. So it should be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's an awesome weekend, just because, you know, you've got, you know, like Heavy D, Diesel Dave, the Muscle, Whistling Diesel, the Seaboys, Cletus, I think Grind Hard. There's a bunch of people. I think there's like 40-something people going. We all pile into a cabin and literally just go all out all weekend with the craziest ideas we can come up with. And I'm super pumped for it. Just because, like, you know, we don't get that experience here in Michigan like we do out there, to go play in the mountains with the ultimate snow toy.
Yeah.
And so I was super, super excited about that.
I've seen
And to bring some of my guys up.
There's helicopters involved and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, got my last year got my first ride in a helicopter, and it was a Black Hawk, and that didn't suck.
Yeah, I bet not.
Yeah, and Dave knows how to fly that thing. We did some mountain carving, and that was absolutely incredible. And really,
What a first experience, by the way, in a Blackhawk.
Right?
yeah, no, it's like, you know, you're thinking like, oh, like I've always wanted to go in one, and then I just went to the top.
Yeah.
Right.
And I tell everyone, there is nothing like it. Like the power that thing has, how fast it goes, how fast it climbs, it's on another level. And yeah, I mean, who knows what else is coming this weekend. I know there's a bunch of toys coming, and like, it's got a key in it, drive it.
Really?
Yeah. And so it should be a good weekend, and who knows what else we're gonna get up to. So it should be videos probably coming next week.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you go out there, is any like set objective or not really? Just have fun. Yeah.
And come up with bad ideas.
Yeah.
Well, with a group like that, there's gonna be plenty of bad ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you know, it's, hey, let's build a jump and jump something. Let's,
Right.
you know, it's endless. Like, it's the creativity of the whole group comes together, and it's like, oh, let's do this and let's do that. And so it's going to be literally 3 days of just madness.
Yeah. Just kind of, yeah. Have you ever been out to the sand dunes out here? Have you ever done any
Silver
filming
Lake?
out there? Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been going to Silver Lake since high school.
Okay.
Grew up riding quads out there, and then dirt bikes. And then when I got my first Jeep, of course, go to Silver Lake. This past year, we took a Ram out there with Hell Tracks on it to see what it was like in the sand, which was incredible. There's one of the really cool things we did out there is there's a pond out there that just people try to go through that just eats vehicles, and we just drove the truck right through it, no issues. Worst smelling thing on the planet, but it was just so cool to, like, people saw what we were doing, and like all of a sudden the crowd just started piling in and just drove right through it. And but no, I love Silver Lake. It's kind of like a Michigan staple.
Yeah.
And but now it's like, all right, I've done that. Now it's like, all right, let's go to Glamis. Never been there, and definitely want to do that. Just got to build something for that, because that's on another level.
Yeah. You've been out to like Moab and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
then?
so I've been doing Moab for a few years now. Usually go out with the Jeep brand. Just one, to see the vehicles that we worked on them with, and then two, have fun with my own rides. So one of the things like I've been doing with when I go out to Moab is like the group that comes with me. Like, I try to bring some people who've never been off-roading before and let them drive my Jeeps, just because it's hard to explain off-roading to someone who's never been. Like, sure, there's the trails around Michigan, but that's nothing compared to what you're going to see in Moab, and you know, the technicalities of it, and just what you're doing. And you know, there's some trails you make a mistake, Jeep goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
And no, it was fun. We did a really cool trail ride this past year, Moab Rim, and got a group together. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna go do this trail. You know, we're gonna kick it off at 10 o'clock at night. Really didn't tell anyone where we were going. It was Moab Rim. And got on the trail, and people are looking at me like, are we gonna die? Because like it's a pretty, like, if you've never done it before, it will stress you out a little bit. But you know, everyone had capable Jeeps. I probably had the hardest Jeep to drive at the time. I was driving a built Wagoneer, with a manual, like a 392 and a manual, and there were some pucker moments, but it was super fun taking everyone through it. You know, when we got, like, I think we started at 10, got to the top, and then by the time we got back down, it was probably 4 o'clock in the morning. And the best part was with that group, like at the end, everyone was like, that was the coolest thing I've ever done. Like, super thankful. I had some great guides with us. And those are experiences you never forget. Like, I love being able to show people like those experiences, because then you might have another enthusiast and someone who wants to get into that. Because, I would say, like, automotive is my passion, but I love off-roading. It is. It's something so different.
Yeah.
When you say Wagoneer, you mean like the classic one?
Yeah, it was worked with, it was a SEMA build from 2 years ago with my buddy Trent's company called Carbuff. And so we came together, an incredible amount of partners and our group at Carbuff, and we did a full restoration. Like, there was a shop out in Utah, Resurgence Automotive, where the vehicle was at. And then, like, everyone kicked in like parts and, whatever we could. I provided the 392, did the graphics, 3D printed a bunch of parts for it. And we all kind of came together, unveiled it at SEMA, and then it kind of traveled around the country and then got to Michigan. And so I brought it to some shows around here and then brought it to EJS and wheeled the hell out of it.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, how often do you see a built Wagoneer for that? Oh, that's 392.
Yeah, it's kind of that year. 2 years ago, it stole the show there. Like, everyone was like, "You're wheeling this thing," and I was like, "Yeah." Like, it's fully capable. There was nothing on that Jeep that wouldn't allow it to. I mean, did it look like a show car? Sure, but it was fully capable, and that's what it was built for. It was built to, yes, be a beautiful vehicle, but Trent wanted it to be a off-road capable vehicle. It wasn't meant to go sit in the corner. It's meant to be a driver.
Are you big on that, driving your cars?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a few toys, and my 18 Demon. All right, perfect example. I beat the living hell out of that car. It's been through, I'd call it, we're on like the third version of it. Going from stock. Actually, fourth version, going from stock, then to like E85 pulleyed, and then we twin turboed it, and then we did, for roadkill, we did the Hurricane swap, and that's where it sits right now. And then we'll run it through that. We want to, of course, modify that motor, get into the tuning of it, and then from there I'll probably make it a full drag car. So I'll go back to a big V8, turbos again, and fully cage it and kind of make it my drag car.
Why Hurricane swap it?
I was just going to ask that. Yeah. Whose idea was that?
It's time to get some proper mandrel bends. Whether you are a weekend warrior or a shop owner, Hayes Performance has what you need to get your charge piping or exhaust dialed. From flex couplers to T-bolt clamps, if you want to lay down some pipe, go to HayesPerf.com and use Minnoxide 5 to get 5% off any Hayes Performance products. That's HAZEPERF.com. Let's get back to the show.
Well, so my buddy Garrett, who American Muscle HD on Instagram.
He's a cool dude.
Yep.
Yeah. And so when he got invited to Roadkill, like, he wanted us to build the car. And like, we were going back and forth on ideas. Like, initially, we're like, oh, let's put it in a Jeep. Like, no one's done that yet. That'd be super cool. I've got all the parts we can think of, and it'd be a real easy build. And then Dodge really wanted us to use a Plymouth or Dodge vehicle. And so I'm like, we kept going back and forth on ideas, and, time's getting shorter and shorter of when the event was. And one morning I was just like, just use my Demon. Like, I know the car super well. It's been through a lot already. So, and I was getting ready to pull the motor anyways, just because we wanted to redesign the turbo kit. And I was like, screw it. And that's what we did. And, like, everyone thought I was crazy for doing it, but everything that we did is reversible. So it's not like, we ruined the car. Like, I could put it completely back to stock, no problem.
Right.
But, and we wanted something that was like, that would stand out, kind of be the head turner. And then also, like, kind of like, it would piss people off. Like, why did you use a Demon? And it's like, well, I had the car.
Yeah.
And, like, could we have got another car? Sure. But like, that was the whole point, was, stir the pot, get people like, oh, it's got to have a Hemi. But the Hurricane it's sweet. I mean, it's got a sweet setup. It's got a ton of potential. It's just, we got to get it there. And so, being one of the first people to have that was the crate motor was awesome, but now digging into it is kind of the next step. We acquired a few more Hurricane motors, and that's where we want to kind of go in and see what the potential is, because there's a lot there.
Well, currently, you guys already did some dyno numbers with it as well, right?
Yep.
And did you say that was on JB4 or?
No. So the tune that we got for Roadkill is a modified tune, and so we I think at the wheel we made 520, 540. I don't remember off the top of my head. Which is, if you look at like a Grand Wagoneer, the 1500 RHO, they're 550. And so if we're making that at the wheel, that shows that it's already there. But also, we were data logging the whole thing, and there's time that we can add, there's fuel that we can add. So there's a lot there. We just been busy, and so now we got to take that next step of seeing what it's capable of. If we grenade the motor from putting too much power to it, or it is what it is. But at least we know where it's at. But it's it's where Stellantis is at right now, and that's what we got to play with. And so do we have a lot of fun with all the Hemi cars? Absolutely. But this is something that it's the new thing that's out, and people are buying those cars, so let's dig into it. It's like the RHO. The RHO, like I have my TRX. I got to go to the media drive for the RHO, so I drove my truck there, did the media drive, had a blast in the truck, got back in my TRX, and I was like, I'll take the RHO. Like, it feels lighter. The way it puts the power down, it's awesome. And the price point's way better too. And so it's just, I think from that Hemi crowd, does it make the sound? No. But is it a kick-ass, product? Yeah. It's just people need to drive it and then understand it. My Wagoneer's got a Hurricane in it, and I absolutely love it. I've had zero issues with it, and I wouldn't I got nothing bad to say about it. Like, it's a sweet setup.
It's hard to argue with that inline six anyway. It's kind of been a tried and true.
Yeah, look at all the BMWs.
Yeah, it's a platform amongst. It's been putting down some crazy shit for a while anyway, amongst other automakers. So it's I think even back to the 200 straight six that used to come in F250s and shit. Those, you couldn't kill those things.
Yeah,
just kept going and going and going. So are they a lot lighter?
Yeah, I think that engine shaved don't count me on this, but I know we weighed the car before and after, and we added some carbon and stuff, but I think we shaved 800 pounds out of the car.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah.
I just for the roadkill part of it, I was like, all right, well, we know this thing's a boat, so what are some things we can lighten up quick? So we got rid of the hood, and then I put carbon doors on it from Anderson, and I think the doors, they weigh 57 pounds, and the Anderson doors weigh 7.
Wow.
But that's still dry carbon. We just added the windows back in, but still you're not at putting a lot of weight back in. Put a carbon decklet in, roof, but there's a lot there. It's just it's so new that getting into tuning it, there's still that roadblock that everyone's trying to get past, and then turbos, fueling.
It's a crazy platform. So my dad demos a Wagoneer currently, and my brother just gasses it. It is ridiculous. I think it's just under half a second slower 0 to 60 than the Escalade V.
Really?
Yeah, and we're talking about a car that makes 150 horsepower more or whatever. It's awesome.
Oh, the tow's great too. I've towed this in an enclosed trailer. No problem.
My buddy towed his twin turbo Viper down to Texas with his Wagoneer. That was the Obsidian, whatever. Just they're nice.
Yeah.
Get tinted and everything.
Interiors are awesome. Yeah. No, I love the car.
So you have a number of partners on that Hurricane Demon. One of them's HP turbochargers.
Yep.
So how did that all happen? I guess because you guys are marketing for them, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of another part of our business. So I actually got introduced to HPT through Alex, whose truck's right there. So he runs HPTs on his twin turbo F-150, and I think through him just posting on it through social, he got connected with them, and then he's like, "Oh, here's the contact," and that's kind of, I wrote an email of what we were doing, and they were super happy to partner with us, and kind of built a relationship from there. So we're working on stuff for the Hurricane platform, but also for some of my other kind of in-house shop builds.
Well, that's got to be cool to be one of the first to be kind of pushing that too. That's one of the things I said from the get-go. I can't wait till people start modifying the Hurricane.
We've been keeping an eye on it for a
Yeah,
while.
and I think it was just getting to the vehicle people wanted to modify. And so I think that's where a lot of people were kind of like, you know, the Wagoneer crowd isn't going to really modify that. And so, and then, you know, then it came out in the Ram 1500. And now that it's in the RHO, you're hitting a different demographic that's going to spend more money on modifying it because look how many people have modified their TRXs. And so now it's, you know, and what they've done with the piggyback, I mean, it's making more power than a TRX now, which is, don't get me wrong, like I love that truck, but it sucks filling that thing up. Like that's probably the worst part of it is like every other day.
Well, it's not even a huge tank in there either, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's not, it's got a smaller tank than the 15, because I think like in the 1500 you can get like a 30-gallon tank or something. And I want to say it's like 22, 23 gallons.
Yeah, it's something goofy like that.
Yeah. And that, I mean, you can blow through that in a second. I mean, I think I average like 9 miles a gallon in mine. Well, now it's even going to be worse.
Yep.
Because now that we switched blowers, did upper and lower pulleys, injectors, E85. So now it's going to be probably hot garbage. But, you know, 1,000 horse is way more fun.
Yeah. For in between gas stations.
Pretty much.
So why Jeep, right? Before you had this whole relationship, why did you love Jeep so much beforehand? Is that kind of where your love started, or?
So no, actually.
Okay.
So kind of my love for cars came from my grandmother.
Okay.
And so my grandparents are from Italy, and they would split time between here and Italy. And every year my grandmother, when they came back, she would bring me a model Lamborghini. And so like that's kind of, you know, like the poster on the wall. And so every year, like that was the thing I always looked forward to, was getting that model. And that's kind of what got my interest in cars. But like never was truly in the industry till after college. And no, just always kind of wanted to get into it, but just, you know, never, you know, growing up, like never had the money to really modify cars or anything like that. And I was up north on a camping trip with a bunch of buddies, and I think we were at McDonald's, like in the drive-thru McDonald's, and I saw 2 Jeeps covered in mud. And I was like, that looks like a lot of fun. And literally, I think within a week, my wife and I went and bought a Jeep. And from there, like I just started modifying it. You know, didn't really like know a whole lot about that side of the industry, but I kind of went all into it. And that's really where it started. And so I got would have been a 2012 JK.
Okay.
And like literally cost me everything I had at that time. And that's kind of what kicked it all off. And through kind of like my network in Detroit, got introduced to the guys at AEV and started putting all their parts on, and then kind of went from there. And you know, never thought when I got my first Jeep I'd be working with the brand. Like that's the wild part.
Yeah.
And that kind of really started it. And then, you know, and then from there, you know, that's what kind of where I really got into it. It was helping kick off M1 Concourse.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about M1 Concourse?
Yeah.
And how that whole project happened?
Yeah. So, I mean, it feels like a lifetime ago. So back before I was kind of in the whole automotive scene, I had a personal training company. And so, and one of my clients, we would literally like, you know, he was a car enthusiast, so was I. And I was like, always like tinkering with cars on the side and, you know, just doing what I thought I could do from like modifications. And we would always go back and forth on, you know, like no one has owned the like Motor City scene of cars. And he was doing some research and saw the Automotorplex. That's up your guys' way.
Yeah.
Yep.
And saw that and we're like, we need to do that in Detroit. And talked about it. And, you know, we were kind of just like, got to find property, this or that. And I was driving up Woodward one day and I saw the property in Pontiac where M1 is. And I was like, that's it. It's on Woodward. You know, saw the sign up, you know, and I was like, let's do it. And I mean, it took us I think we were working on it for like 3 years, you know, just going through acquiring the property because it was an old General Motors plant, so there was remediation for the property. But you know, like one day, you know, he's like, all right, leaving my job, I left mine, and we put everything into it. And like when we were pitching the idea to, you know, people around, you know, all your automotive enthusiasts, they thought we were absolutely insane. But once, you know, people caught on that we were serious and really going with it, I mean, we pretty much sold, I think in 9 months, we sold the whole first phase out.
Oh, wow.
And then we kicked off construction.
How many, is it like units over there? How many units did you guys have?
I think there in total I think there's 250 plus.
Wow, okay.
And so the whole place sold out. But it went from just doing like, so initially it was like the garage condo concept.
Yep.
And then it turned into, let's put a track there, and then put the event center in. And so it was kind of an evolving thing. And so, you know, once we got all that going, broke ground, then people understood that we were serious, and pretty much the rest of it sold itself. And then, you know, kind of once, you know, I helped with construction, and then once we actually opened the facility, I kind of oversaw the facility, the events, helping create events. And, you know, the coolest event that we did was Roadkill Nights. And so it was cool working with Motor Trend. Had to work with the, you know, state of Michigan, with MDOT, city of Pontiac, and, you know, building an event to close down Woodward and build a drag strip and then tear it down all in 48 hours. That was wild. And the first year we did it, it was, you know, like, it was wild, like crazy trying to do it all. But as you can see, it's, you know, it's been going since, and it's cool. You know, I've raced in it countless times. You know, being in the grudge match this year was super cool, and yeah, you know, it's kind of like, it's one of those things I look back on and I was like, that was fun creating all that, and just, you know, like, again, being involved in the community, and you know, like, that's what I love doing, is just, you know, getting people into automotive.
Are you still involved with the track now? Or are you, other than like Roadkill Nights and stuff, are you?
Yeah, so no, I separated 2017, 2018, and that's just wanted to kind of move into my own thing. It was just between hours, like in life, you know, you got to like pick and choose your battles.
Right.
And so I was like, kind of want to do something on my own, and here we are.
Yeah.
And so, and then, you know, and from there, like, you know, but like the experiences were incredible. Meeting all like CEOs of companies was awesome. Like the networking was, you know, that's the coolest thing about the network that I built from it. And then just through all the driving and instructing I got to do, and then now, you know, I do stunt driving and like high performance driving education, and it's fun as hell. Like, you know, when I get a phone call to go stunt drive, I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Like, what are we doing?
So are these? What are you stunt driving for? Is that like when you see these Dodge commercials or some?
Yeah, so I've done stuff with like countless brands. The most work I've done has been with Dodge, Jeep, and, you know, and then I got the phone call to do the Grand Tour. That was a fun one. Got referred by one of the guys that I worked with at M1 at the time. He's like, oh, you got to talk to Matt. He has all the connections in the city. And he's like, this company called Chump Productions is going to reach out to you. And I was like, all right. And I was like sitting there and I'm like, is this really going to happen? And so I'm sitting there, look up Chump Productions, and I was like, holy shit, this is the Grand Tour. And I was like, that's sweet. So one of the producers of the show called me and was like explaining what they wanted to do. And they pitched me like the idea for that show. And I was like, that's not a good idea for coming to Detroit. I was like, you know, the Demon's out now. I'm like, we're in like the renaissance of like the ultimate horsepower cars. And so I came back to them and I'm like, let's do like high horsepower Motor City cars. And I'm like, I've got some connections and they'll probably bite. And so I'm like, let's, you know, I was fortunate enough to get, you know, the original Demon. And I was like, let me make a phone call to someone at Dodge and I guarantee you they'll be in. Made the phone call and I'm like, they're in. And so I put all the pieces together, and then then the show evolved, because like I think they wanted to do like some old junker cars and like
Right. Like a historical sort of piece.
It was like something like that. Like
Yeah.
you know, don't remember exactly. And then, you know, all of a sudden now like Dodge was in, and then Ford came in with the RTR Mustang, and then Hennessy brought the Exorcist. And it was cool, like because they're like, hey, you know, like we want to build a racetrack at this old, I think it was Cadillac Stamping, like we want to build a racetrack there, and so like, can you go down there? You know, you've done like safety and stuff at tracks, and like, can you help us build a track? And I was like, yeah. So I went down there and I'm looking at this place like, this is gonna be a lot of work.
All right, Dan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think your wife loves you?
Ooh, it's got to be like an 8, solid 8.
So I think it would be great if she used your credit card to go to tunedbyshawn, SHAWN.com, to get you a Haltech ECU for 5% off using code Minnoxide. Does that math out?
Absolutely.
Just because like it was run down, and I'm sitting there like looking, because like, oh, we want to drive through, you know, the factory and everything like that, and I'm like, we're gonna have to pave this, like we're gonna have to take sections out and pave it. And I, you know, I relayed that, and they're like, just do it. And I'm like, all right, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, this isn't gonna be a cheap bill. And so went in there, brought one of my buddies' paving companies in, like brought in cats and everything. We cleaned everything out and literally built that track.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was super cool. And, you know, I got to be on set the whole time helping them with, you know, anything they needed, like kind of like stunt related. I got to work with their stunt drivers, just with whatever they needed. And it was, I mean, it was, I think it, like from like when I started to from finishing up filming, I mean, I was working with them for like 4 or 5 months just to set up for a week shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Did the city and everything okay with you guys ripping stuff up and paving stuff? Was that
Yeah, so like that's the thing, like, you know, when you're bringing in big production companies, you got to pull all the permits and everything. So yeah, we had to pull permits there, health and safety. So like it wasn't a cheap thing.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, like, you know, like there's guys in like every city that kind of do the setup, and like they go like, you know, do all the recce at the locations to look at everything. And so I was working with those guys just to figure out like all the logistics. And yeah, like when they roll into town, I mean, police escorts everywhere, and it was super smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were we even talking about before all of this?
Grand Tour.
Tour.
Yeah, Grand Tour. I think we were still on that, right?
Paving the streets of that way.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
paving the track, and just
all that,
it was almost pretty much wrapped up.
Well, what was it like working with the cast? Did you get to meet them as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so no, it was super cool. So like when we'd wrap filming for the day, like hey, we're gonna go to this restaurant, have dinner, and hang out. And so that's what we did kind of every night, was we'd all have dinner as a group together, and those guys are hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, like they're funny as shit. Like they are nonstop with the jokes, and like a lot of the stuff like that's, you know, that they're doing like while recording is just ad lib. Like they'll just come up with it on the spot. You know, like Clarkson's like the mastermind.
Yeah.
But like they're just nonstop, and like, you know, like a lot of people started figuring out like that I was working with them, and so like my phone, where are you guys at? And I'm like, can't tell you.
Right. Well, I think you only made like one Facebook post about it, too.
Yeah, I made a handful, because like a lot of it I waited until the show dropped.
Yeah, yep.
And so just because, you know, courteous. And
Did you have issues with that as you're doing things like that, as people like figuring out what's going on, and like did they get people mobbing in there at all? Or?
Not really. So like when we'd go to like different sections of town, like it would, like the police would block the streets off. And so like we went to like, there's the portion where like they bought the house.
Yeah.
And so like it was great, like the neighbors came out and stuff, but like they were just wondering what was going on. Like I think one of the neighbors like gave us chairs to use. And but other than that, like there wasn't really any issues, because like there was the one where we did when we were, I think it was when the RTR was racing the Hennessy Exorcist, like that was down, I think it was down Grand River. So that was a little bit of a headache, just because like, you know, you just have people walking, and all of a sudden you know, you've got a live shoot going on, we're drag racing.
Yeah.
And so, but
Oh yeah, I saw a video on YouTube of some random guy like filming you guys, and that got thousands of views. Yeah.
And so like there was that, Detroit City Airport, that was shut down, so didn't have to worry about that. When we were doing in one of the old parking garage, like that was closed. So like it was, you know, again, everything was kind of like you could only get past a certain point. So there was never really any issues.
How about like, so like were you in charge of like picking like the theater, for example?
No, so the why am I blanking on what these guys are called? Like the fixers.
Yeah.
And so like they had people who'd come out and scout all the locations, and so they would do it, and then we would kind of like, you know, they'd have me like, hey, can you like help get some of this equipment or whatever? And so I also helped with that, just, you know, cleaning up stuff and trying to just make everything as safe as possible.
Yeah.
Well, didn't the Demon also go airborne or like get?
Yeah, so when we were doing the track, they're like, we want to jump a vehicle, and I'm sitting there and I'm like looking at a spot and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that will work. And I tested it beforehand, it worked really well. and that's kind of where that happened. And so, one of the things we're like, like what are the speeds that we can go without sending a car too far? And luckily because it was coming out of the factory, it was a turn, and then it was kind of like up that ramp. And so there really wasn't a whole lot of speed you could carry, so it ended up being just fine. But it was sweet seeing the Demon off the ground.
Yeah. Well, it's just such a big car too.
Yeah. Well, what's Dodge's expectation at that point? Like, when you're doing something like that, and they give you a car to use, don't crash it, jump it, but don't crash it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That was pretty much it.
Okay.
Did the others have any crazy? Well, I guess RTR. That's not directly with Ford, is it, or was it?
No, that car I think came directly from RTR.
Okay.
And then Hennessy brought.
Right.
And he was up the whole time too.
Okay.
And so, but they would bring there were teams there that were in case something did break, we could fix the car real quick. But I honestly didn't have any issues with anything. And so, I mean, the Exorcist though, because where they were stored for overnight, when that thing would start up, it was deafening. It was don't get me wrong, I love a loud car, but it was
obnoxious.
Piercing. Yes.
Yeah.
And but no, it was cool. In the final race, the Demon versus the Exorcist at the airport, and I mean, the Demon kicked the shit out of the Exorcist every single time, and so that was cool seeing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that whole episode, that was one of the coolest episodes. One of my favorite parts of that episode is just how tiny Hammond looks next to the Demon. Just
yeah, he's not a very big guy.
Well, no, it's not even that. The Demon's just huge.
Yeah.
Even next to the GT here, it's the roof line is at the door line.
Yeah. So it's over and done. So one of the coolest parts of the show, the thing that I always laugh about. So when they were doing the race at the airport, they forgot to film Hammond touching the high octane button. So they called me and they're like, "Hey, can you film that?" So it's actually my hand
Really?
pressing it. Yeah. So
That's cool.
that was kind of cool.
So did you have any other fun interactions during that whole? Because you said it was 4 or 5 months sort of deal.
Well, yeah. So I mean, for them it was just a lot of email interactions and then working on the site to get everything set up. But mainly it was a few days before the crew flew in and just connected with those guys, and then once they hit the ground, it was filming every day. And so, but yeah, the interactions on set, just kind of let them stay in your lane, let those guys do their thing,
Right.
and then after we were done filming, that was kind of when we hung out, and just bullshit and talk cars.
How long are they in town for when they're filming?
They were in town for a week.
Okay.
And so it was in, film, out. The day that we wrapped, next day they were out of town.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I think it's the way they set it up. It's it's doing all the episodes and you just don't realize what goes into each episode and how much time it takes to set all that up, which was crazy.
Well, even the behind the scenes, on the YouTube video I saw, it's they're slow roll and everything. The stunt drivers are backing up, getting ready for everything. It's a lot that goes into even a 10-second clip.
Oh yeah.
So
and just reset it back up, shoot it again. Getting different angles. That was just to set up all the camera cars. That was the only thing I had to do. I had to help them source all the camera cars, but also it's been cool because a lot of the guys who run the Russian arm, I've worked with them before, and so it was cool seeing those guys that I've worked with previously on set, and it's just a lot. There's so many moving pieces. Yeah, I mean, overall, one of the Daisy. I know you just want to say hi. You're such a good girl. No, experience of a lifetime.
Right.
And I got paid, which was cool.
even better.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys, did they put you on an hourly thing, or you just kind of
I just
give you
build them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's because I had to bill for I helped source the cars they used for the camera cars, help sort the paving. There was a lot to it, and they're yeah, just itemize it and send us a bill. And they paid me within 48 hours, and I was like, that was awesome.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, that's not frequent.
No, that's the thing is I'm this is not a small bill, just with everything else. And
That's that Amazon money,
it's
baby.
that Amazon money. Yeah, that was wild.
Whose idea was it to do the RTR and the Exorcist?
I think that kind of like once I kind of got the idea with them,
Okay.
I think they kind of took it from there.
Figured it out, yeah.
Once I got Dodge on board, they're like,
We need to find comparables.
yeah, and that's where it all kind of came together.
Which they didn't really have anything at that time frame because the GT500 wasn't out yet, and then I don't think the ZR1 was out yet either. So there was really nothing. Like Camaro was the ZL1, but that was nowhere near the Demon.
Yeah.
So that's why they had to do the
Well, and
Exorcist.
and it worked out perfectly,
Yeah.
like because when the Demon launched, and then Hennessy put out the Exorcist, it
Yeah,
all
yeah.
kind of came together.
Like it was a little bit of a story, yeah. Your best friend.
Hi, Sweet Pea.
I haven't seen the episode, so now I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
We'll
But
throw it on tonight at the hotel.
what's you said they bought a house too while they were here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Just
Yeah.
a rundown house.
Yeah, I bought a rundown house. I mean, it doesn't show Detroit in the best light,
Yeah.
Right.
but like look at now, from then to where Detroit is now is incredible.
Yeah.
They also talked about it in the episode too, like saying like, like it's on like the comeback.
Yeah,
sort of
because like
deal.
I think if I'm not mistaken, like it opens up like after like the montage, like it opens up with like the vacant land that's turned into farms,
Yeah.
and so
It also says turning vegan or something like that too. Some
Yeah, I
weird
think they,
line. Yeah.
and then that's where he slid the car through the garden.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 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 We're gonna have to watch that episode tonight. That was
Yeah,
a
it's
fun time.
good.
Well, it's a great episode, and like, again, I grew up Dodge, right? So like, the Demon was dropped. Every day I was checking the website as I was dropping too. So, besides like, obviously you did the Jeep thing. Did you have a love for Dodge as well at that point, or not really?
So a lot of that came from when I started M1, and I got the deal put together for Dodge to be one of the first car manufacturer partner, and that was just after the Hellcat rolled out, and so it worked out great. And so when they provided us the vehicles, they provided us a few Hellcats and Vipers, and once you start driving those every day, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
these are awesome. Yeah, I mean, like, what more? There's not a at that time there wasn't a car out there that was as fun as a Hellcat.
Yeah.
You can go fast as hell and then drift it. Like the car was awesome, but then also they're like, oh, here's two ACR Vipers.
Yeah.
And ripping those around the track daily was insane. Like that's kind of the next car that I really want.
Yeah, you want to grab a Viper at some point?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't care. Like if it can be a junk, as long as it runs, because I just want to beat the hell out of it.
Yep.
Any particular gen?
Gen 5.
Yeah.
Gen 5 ACR.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've got thousands of laps in one, and it's just that was like I just fell in love.
Thousands.
Yeah.
I guess. Wow. Yeah. That's a lot
you-
of track time.
Yeah.
You've taught HPDE then too? Is yeah? Okay.
Ran a lot of track days, still do. So like I'll work with companies out there where they want to do private track days, and they'll bring me on to
Okay.
run the track day.
You still do that then? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just do a handful a year. Mainly it's for like clients that I already have, and just kind of keep it going. It's because one, it's a great day away from the shop.
Right.
You
Yep.
just go rip cars around.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any like filming there as well, of any kind?
From like what kind of standpoint?
Whether it's for 5 o'clock garage or anybody
Like
else.
track days?
Yeah, track days or just any sort of track events at M1.
Not since like I left. I mean,
Okay.
I've done like some filming out there. Like we've done some drifting, promotional stuff. Like there was stuff that we did for SEMA, but other than that, I all over the country now, and so that's kind of where we do our filming.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Because now you're again going to Utah this week, just all over the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just kind of like got to pick and choose like what events I want to go to, what cars we're taking, and then also like there's opportunities everywhere for events, and it's just between running this and then events, like I got to pick and choose what events I want to go to. Are they meaningful to the business?
Right.
So like this one, yes, of course. Like for me, it's it's one, the networking's awesome, but two, just like having my truck out there, our graphics and all the vehicles, like
Yeah. I can't wait to see that.
can't
It's gonna
beat
be
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's just, and I've become friends with a lot of those guys over the past few years, and so it's just also having fun with your buddies.
He just wants to go for the helicopter rides.
I do love the helicopter rides.
It's like I want to be in that Blackhawk again. How I used to look at like ride-alongs, like at cars at car meets, is how you look at helicopters. And I'm like, oh, I want that one.
I would love to have a helicopter
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, we've gotten your helicopter spiel.
Yes, that is the next goal is I want a helicopter.
So obviously you've gone to turn some corners with the Viper then. How does that compare to the GT then? And what's the story with the GT?
Two totally different animals. I mean, this is like pretty much a race car without a roll cage. The Viper is raw American muscle. And so like the crazy part about like an ACR Extreme is just how far you can push that car. And it's just, it hooks and goes. Where this, you know, like I'm gonna go drive a Viper, you know, when we had those Viper, I would drive them 10 tenths. You know, like when I drive this, like, yeah, no. You know, like this is, you know, $1.5 million car.
Yeah.
And so is it, you know, a great thing to drive, have fun with? Sure. But it's not like, you know, when I drive this or my other Demon, like I beat the hell out of them.
Yeah.
You know, like this I can fix, that you can't.
Okay.
And
So you care a little bit more about this one then?
well, yeah, you know, it belongs to a business partner, and it's
Okay.
like, yeah, I'm gonna take care of that, but like all the stuff that I have, like whether it's my Jeeps, Demons, trucks, like, yeah, like, you know, I want to have fun with it. And, you know, and it's cool because I have gotten a lot of industry partners that provide parts for these vehicles. And so, you know, put them to the limits, test them. You know, if something breaks, let's go back to that manufacturer and say, hey, this is what broke. And they want to know just like, how did it happen?
Right.
Yep. Well, that's kind of a cool thing. You can just go up the street and be like, hey, here's what broke. How did it happen?
That's, you know, and there's so many manufacturers in Detroit that we work with that it's easy to give feedback to too. And so, because yeah, I mean, like my Jeeps, when that thing came back from Moab, it had dents in the doors. But like other than that, like everything really held up. You know, like from where I started with, you know, my first Jeep to where my Jeeps are now, like I get to work with some of the best, you know, manufacturers out there, and you know, they're tried and true parts.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, that Jeep's been airborne. It's done some fun stuff.
Have you worked with any? So you got a pretty tight thing going on with Stellantis. Have you done any partnering or working with any of the other OEMs?
I've done some work, but not like what I do with Stellantis.
Okay.
Just, you know, I've built a really good relationship with them over the past 4 years, and you know, that's kind of where I'm at. And so, you know, it's not from working with, you know, product design to the marketing teams. It's a very, like, I would say they're the easiest OEM to work with. Like, you know, we come up with an idea and they're like, yeah, we're in, let's do it. Like last year when I put the Ram 2500 on the Hell Tracks, I was like, hey, can I get a 2500? And they're like, yeah, go pick it up. And went and picked it up. We had to do Daisy. I had to put a leveling kit on the front and then chop a little bit of the bumper because we had never fit it before.
Best guard dog ever.
Yeah. Come on, push hard. But no, like, so with the, like, you know, with that deal, like I was like, hey, you know, we have to do some slight modifications. Like, oh, can it go back to stock? And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna need, like, I'll put another bumper on it and I'll take the lift kit off and we're good. But from their standpoint, they're like, this is sweet marketing material. And so, and then, you know, kind of started working on that side of things with some of the vehicles that we've built. They use it, you know, in social, and that's awesome to see, you know, them promoting our business and then, you know, the world seeing everything that we do here.
Do you build cars for anybody who wants to come in here and do this? I mean, I think I've talked to you before. You do some stuff with some influencers and stuff too, or big YouTubers.
Yeah, so we've got some influencers that we work with. We've got some cool upcoming projects that I won't say yet because they haven't been. No one's talked about them yet.
Redacted.
Yes, but no, I've got some cool projects coming up. That, like, there's multiple shops coming together for the build. I mean, like, Sparks just got his new AMW Gladiator, and you know, I did all the custom graphics on it and stuff, so that's always cool to see. But there are some influencer builds that we're gonna be involved with here in the next few months. Okay. And so it's just, I got to get all this done first, and then get back to the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
This being the shop.
Yes.
Yeah. Or what do you call this? Do you call this a shop?
The rink.
The rink.
Yeah. You know, still, it's kind of like, it's what we call it. It's just kind of stuck. You know, it's not a rink anymore, but it still looks like one.
Yeah.
So over the last, like, little bit more than a decade. I mean, is there any moment or anything that you've done that you're most proud of?
Oh boy. I mean, first, one, being a part of building M1, awesome. Getting the call to work the Grand Tour, getting to film commercials with the OEMs, and then seeing it on all the channels that they promote stuff on. I would say kind of the coolest thing that I've done, which was recently, is we shot a TV show. Won't go into details yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to shoot a TV show back in September, and really excited to see that roll out. And so that was kind of the really fun one, was to bring all the guys that helped me here out to the shoot, and we did a build off, and that was kind of all right, we're getting somewhere. Mm-hmm. When you literally blood, sweat, and tears go into every business. When you're the owner, you wear so many hats every day. And then to do something like that and literally have fun the whole time you're doing it, mm-hmm. That's kind of one of the top things. It's a lot of work running the business. When you're starting from nothing and then trying to build into something, and then all the different hats you wear, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so then that brings me to my next question. What's the hardest thing about doing what you do? Waking up. Another day.
It's just, I think it's just dealing with growth, mm-hmm. Bringing on more employees, bringing on more work, keeping everything in order. That's, you got to grow into that, and just, and then it's just trial and error. One day you might think you're doing it right, and then the next day you're like, well, that didn't work. And so, and I think a lot of it's just being able to evolve, learning from other people, asking people questions, always being open to, new ideas, listening to your peers. There's a lot you can learn from people who are successful, mm-hmm. and just having the right group around you is a lot. I mean, I think a year and a half ago, my wife quit her job to come on board with us. We just call her the boss. Because, just where she came from in corporate America, and having her involved here, it's she keeps order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just because, it's real easy to get off track in this world. So we want to go build this car, and then, but then you're taking a time away from the business. And, and, you got personalities at your shop, you got lives to deal with, I got kids, and it's just, putting a schedule together where you can, everyone's happy. That's probably one of the hardest parts, is just time management.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just trying to stay on top of everything, not get behind. But also there's what we currently are manufacturing and making, and then it's being innovative too, spending that time to what's the next cool idea. And so, and there's all, it's just how do you split up your day, and it's focusing on all right, block of an hour here, 2 hours there, and just kind of staying with that. I was, the biggest thing that I've kind of taught myself as we've been growing, just staying in your lane. Let's stick to what we're really good at, and then, have time set aside for product development, marketing, social.
Hear that? His ride's here.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just we're running a business is 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just dealing with, you got customers, if there's issues with shipping, and just resolving all that stuff. It's running a small business, mm-hmm. I would say it's not for everyone, but the freedom, I think that, even though I'd say I don't really have much, but the freedom it gives me, all right, I need to take this time off, I just take it.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons that I'm able to do this with Harris, is just because I own my own business too. Mm-hmm. Although I have a contract with somebody that, I always say, even though you have your own business, you don't technically work for yourself. You still have a customer, mm-hmm. or somebody who's, if you're not delivering, then
yeah,
you're going to get fired. And
keeping all your employees on the same page,
yeah.
You got to keep everyone happy, but also you want a team that's, that's striving for the next milestone. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the biggest thing, is just having that group that can cohesively work together, that wants to take that next step. I'd say there's a lot of people that want to work in automotive, but then they don't realize all the work it takes to work in automotive. And it's a lot.
can't remember who it was. I think it was like an NFL player that posted this like a week or two ago. Everybody wants to be a dog until they have to do dog shit.
Yeah.
Or something weird like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, like, I feel like some days I'm the janitor.
Yeah.
It's like you just gotta clean, take care of shit.
There's a couple spills over there, by the way, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there.
And so it's just wearing all those different hats, and there's always going to be work you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But like then when you do it, get it over with, you're like, all right, I feel really good.
So what does your ideas board consist of? I'm not sure if that whiteboard I saw in there was the ideas board or not, but like I'm sure you're constantly trying to figure out what's next. How do you decide on what's the next cool project? Does somebody come to you, or is it in-house? Both?
From like the automotive side, it's going to shows and seeing what people have created, and then trying to like put our touch to it. Always staying on top of new cars. But then from like our print side, because we have machines that are capable of a variety of types of printing, is looking at markets that we can take a piece of, and then doing the product development, testing everything out, and then seeing if it works, and then is there a market to where there's a return on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but that's kind of like why like I shifted my shop to 410s, and so then I used my Fridays for like R&D. So then it's like we've got all of our work done, and then I can spend time coming up with ideas, developing stuff, seeing what our machines are capable of doing. And so we've spent kind of like, I would say this is kind of our slower time of the year, but it's not. And so coming up with the different ideas of like, hey, like I haven't seen this product out there, let's create it. And then does it work? Mm-hmm. And that's what Fridays are for, R&D day.
Do you do anything with like 3D printing or modeling for anything?
So like in the 3D printing side, so like when we're, developing parts for cars or like want to modify stuff, which you guys are gonna talk to Alex tomorrow. Alex is a guru when it comes to 3D printing and stuff. So like we'll come up with an idea for a project, and then literally next day he'll have a part ready. And then I work with another company called Azoth out of Ann Arbor, and so they specialize in all types of 3D printing. And so that's where like I'll make like the custom 3D printed Jeep shifter inserts. We'll 3D print badges, and we do it out of stainless steel. Or like for like like certain high-end car builds, we'll make custom badging for it. And so we'll get the scans of the cars and then make it so it looks like an OEM fit.
Do you have like a 3D scanner here? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I've got one, and then I got a few buddies who got them.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times too, like there's certain stuff where we can get the CAD data for, and then we'll just adjust it from there.
Do you do anything with like SEMA Garage at all?
No.
Okay, 'cause I know they have all
I know it's there.
Oh, never mind, you go
Yeah.
directly to the OEMs.
Yeah,
I guess.
well, SEMA Garage is an hour away from here.
Yeah,
It's
yep.
the Plymouth one. But no, I haven't used that resource because
Yeah.
at a certain point where I'm just like, we've got everything. Let's just do it right now.
Yeah, true. Yeah, fair enough. Is there anybody, because like you have a good bit of business acumen, is there anybody you go to mentorship for anything like that, or where does that come from?
I mean, I feel like a lot of the stuff I get is watching, what a lot of like my peer group does and ask questions, but also, I feel like there's a lot I learn from podcasts.
Okay. Anybody in particular?
It's, like I love listening to just the variety of people that Rogan brings on. And then Andy Frisella runs the CEO. Yep. I love a lot of the stuff that Andy brings to the table. And just kind of cuts through the
older
bullshit.
stuff, I'm guessing, mostly?
Yeah,
or?
like just everything. I mean, it's just, like one of the things I'm always be learning, evolving, because, a year from now, like, the world could change. And it's like, all right, how do we, make sure that we're still like at the top of our game? And, it's trial and error. And, but I feel like I've got a pretty good peer group that I can always reach out to. And just, meeting with, what I'd call there's a board that I'm a part of through CarBuff. It's called the CV7. And so it's a bunch of guys within the automotive industry, and we meet twice a month. We do a Zoom call, and like we all talk about our businesses and, where we need help, what else we could be thinking of. And so it's kind of like, that's kind of the one major peer group that I meet with. Just because, everyone's going to have different issues where you might have experienced it before. And, it's a very open group to where, we can talk openly and discuss where our business is at.
Well, it's pretty cool you can draw on that resource too.
Yeah.
Because then you can see where you're lacking or where somebody else is just killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you seen? Have you met Andy before or no?
Nope.
He's a badass collection.
Yeah, he does.
That dude's got taste
I
in
would
cars.
love to meet that guy.
It's not often you hear somebody that relies on that as a resource. So.
Well, and it's cool, like, you know, like listening to some of these podcasts where like they're, you know, someone that they'll have on will have an issue, and it could have been a similar issue to that I had, and I resolved it the same way that, you know, like Andy could have said. And it's like, all right, so, you know, I've got the right mindset.
I'm doing it right. Yeah. The amount of times I said that, it's like, all right, cool, I'm on the right track.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then, go ahead.
Well, what about your crew that we keep running India with? Is that so? Your people you're using to build here, is this just people you've met along the way, or companies you've reached out to for work, and then it's just personalities have jived, or they've done great work for you, and then it just kind of grows as a relationship from there?
Yeah. So I'd say like the Detroit, you know, racing automotive community, like we're a pretty tight knit group. Like everyone kind of knows everyone, and it's just, you know, like personality matching, and you know, like finding people with the same mindset of, you know, wanting to be successful, wanting to grow their business. And, you know, over the last year, like we've all kind of come together, and, you know, we all want each other to succeed. And so wherever we can help, we help. And yeah, I mean, Alex, Nick, Ed, like we all support each other. And so, and if it's like, hey, like, you know, my shop is booked right now, like I don't have any, do you have any open slots? Like, and then feed each other work. And then it's also like problem solving. Like, you know, we all bounce around to each other's shops, and it's like, hey, you know, hey, can you come help me with this? You know, yeah, we're there. And then vice versa. Like, you know, hey, I've got something I need to work on. And it just, you know, we all kind of pay it forward.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite trips that come to mind? Like, for example, I saw one where you met like Shmi.
Oh yeah, so I was down in Florida working on some Porsches, and probably one of the most incredible car collections I've ever seen. It's called the Iconic Collection, and I was there working on a GT2 RS, a GT3 RS, and a GT3, and just so happened that Shmi was there, and then like one of his like right hand guys ended up having a mutual friend. And so we ended up talking, and that was really cool. I mean, that was like, I would say like the trips just keep getting better. Okay. You know, like I've been to like a good chunk of like the shows that people want to go to, like, you know, Car Week in Monterey, incredible. You know, we have Woodward here, going to all, you know, we've all been to SEMA, PRI. So I've been fortunate enough over the last 4 years to go all over the country, and now it's like, all right, now, you know, I think the next step for me would be like going to like Goodwood or something like that. Just, you know, it all comes down to time.
Well, that's a bucket list for me, is like I would love to do like a 10-day trip of like Goodwood and then go to the Silverstone race. That'd be cool. I mapped it out. I'm like, all right, we can rent a car from here. All right, 6-hour drive, we'll make it happen. So that's on the bucket list in the next decade. But
yeah, no, like I'd say kind of like top of that, like one of my bucket lists is going back to Italy and then hitting all the car factories.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
We just had Schwartz Performance on, and he went out to the Pagani factory. Want to go check that out? It's immaculate. Actually, no, Antonio also went there.
Yeah.
Filipoio. Yeah, he visited. Just ridiculous. Have you ever been to Starstruck? Because you've met quite a few people. You don't strike me as someone who would get starstruck.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
They're just
like,
people.
Yeah, everyone's just people. It's just, you know, like you don't want to be the fanboy. But no, like it's putting everyone on the same level, and you know, I don't want to disrespect anyone's time.
Right.
And then, you know, like when you meet people and you click, like it is what it is. And so, and it's fun. I've got to meet an insane amount of like celebrities or automotive celebrities, and you know, it's like, do you want to work with them? Sure. It's just, you know, figuring out the plan to put together for it all to make sense.
So one of the things we talked about before we started the show is you hate the word sponsor.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it's just like, I mean, you know this across the automotive industry. Everyone's, you know, like, oh, I'm sponsored this, and it's like, cool. Did you get like a discount on a part, or like, I don't know. I hate the word. I feel like it's overused. So like, kind of one of the things that, you know, like our group has been working on is like, how do we evolve that into like a partnership, brand ambassador, like, you know, like, sure, yeah, there's so many people out there just looking for a free part. But like I'm looking for like anytime we're doing anything, like I want a product that is like that's well made. It's going to do what it needs to do, and then if I'm using that product, I want to be able to talk highly of those companies.
Right.
And like I don't like there's tons of people out there who brand hop just because they're going to get free parts. Like if my big thing is if I'm putting a proposal together for like a SEMA build or a marketing build, something like that. Like I'm gonna always hold my word to what we're doing. Like these are like I try to lay it out. Like these are the partners, these are the shows it's going to, this is the content we're going to create with it. It's giving back. I want to give back 10 times what they're giving me. And so it's the value that you can bring to the table. And and then like once I as I've started this and started working with companies, it's like I want to make sure like on the next project that they may have a part, like I want to use them and I want to be able to have that. Hey, I've got build that relationship to where I can call them up and say, hey, I've got this project, like I'll pay for it. Like that's not the thing. They're like, but if you can deliver back way more, then they're like, no, like here you go.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome. Like I don't want anything for free. I want to build a relationship to where like it's a trade-off. Like I'm going to market your company, and then like that cost comes back into the part. It's just like I don't know. I feel like I can only imagine talking to some of my buddies who that work for manufacturers. Like you got to imagine they're getting so many emails.
Oh yeah.
And there's so many people out there just looking for free shit. And like I don't want to be that guy. Like I want to be something that's going to give that's going to make a sale for them. That's going to give them an outreach. Or if like they're developing a product and I can help them with it, like, yeah, I'm not going to turn that down. Like how can I help you launch a new product? And just, or like, it's cool. Like when a brand calls, hey, we've got this coming out. Do you got anything you use for it? And then it's like, well, maybe I can change this and then we'll make that work.
Maybe I'll just get rid of my Demon motor and my twin turbo and just put a Hurricane in there.
Yes.
Do you think that car will? Well, I guess what's the next iteration of that car? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, probably DSR motor.
A what?
DSR motor.
Okay.
It's a twin turbo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it? Well, how does it compare to the 170?
I mean, well,
How does the
this lives in
170
its own
compare?
world.
Yeah.
I would say when I had the 18 Demon twin turboed, that car was unreal. I would say like we got it like 90% of the way there. Just a lot of it came down to just tuning, because it was like we built that car in like 5 days just because we were getting ready for sick week. And it was just between work and other projects, like I never really got to fully finish it. That's why I was going to pull the motor out anyways to really come up with the final version of it. And then the opportunity with Roadkill happened. I'm like, all right, let's put that, that's where it's putting that in. But no, like once, like, do I want to still like figure out what the limits of the Hurricane are? Absolutely. And then once we're done with that, then we're gonna put a Hemi back in it.
So figuring out the limits, what's that going to look like? I mean, are you able to do much with the ECU at the moment, or what?
Yeah, did they give you an ECU then too? How did you get that thing to run in that short amount of time?
Mopar provided a Motec ECU for it, but it's different than the factory car. So like the factory crate motors are coming with a Bosch ECU, and no one's in that yet.
Okay.
So they'll give you in a crate motor an ECU that will run it to its.
It's a locked ECU.
Yeah,
it's no different than like when you go to HP Tuners and getting your ECU unlocked, and then you go from there.
Right. It just is able to work with that car.
Yeah, but it's just like, I mean, right now with the industry, like it sucks like how many things are locked, and then how much time it takes for the aftermarket to catch up with it, and it's like, if you're gonna unlock an ECU, the warranty's gone anyways. So like, people want to buy cars to modify. And like, why stop us? Like you're gonna like if you take it to the dealer, they're gonna know in an instant if you modified it.
What are your thoughts on where the industry is going to go there in the next few years? Is it going to be easier or harder to modify?
That's a great question. I think it's going to be varied on the companies and just what their mindsets are. But like, cars are expensive right now. Like, I mean, we look at how much a car was 10 years ago to where a car is today. Like, if you want to move more cars, like, let people modify them. I mean, if they want to throw their warranty out, let them throw their warranty out. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I think like, I mean, that's a great way. I mean, look at like, let's go back to like the Hellcat and the 392, right? I mean, how many of those are modified? Incredible. Why? And the reason people bought those cars is because you could modify them. So why are you going to stop that target consumer from wanting to buy that car? Because I feel like, there's going to be, like there's companies out there, like Stellantis did it, Ford's doing it, where they're doing the where you can get like the factory tunes, like the upgraded tunes. But like, for us, that's not enough.
Yeah.
Like cool.
It'd be cool for a
bumped
week.
it up 100 horse. That's great. But I want another 400 or 500.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? And how do we do it with, either a factory ECU, but then you look at what HP Tuners is doing, where they're doing standalones.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then you think about how, that's again going back to how much time it takes to develop something like that.
Right.
Well, it's also difficult because cars are getting more and more integrated. Like, for example,
Yes.
the guy we had on last week, his Camaro, it's like a 2017 ZL1. It's like he has to rip all this out, take out the dash. I think it's like the phone charger.
The rear wireless charger made it so the car wouldn't run.
Yeah.
So we had to find a way to bypass that to get it to.
Because when the CAN bus can't talk, it literally,
Yep.
once you pull a sensor, it shuts it down.
Yeah. Which you probably deal with a lot, because I've heard the neural network in the Dodge is a real pain in the ass.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure there's a million reasons why they do it, but it's like, do you want more people? You want to sell cars, right?
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
No, it doesn't matter what they're coming out with some pretty badass already race cars out the box, right? But
But then you get used to it, and then you want more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're an automotive enthusiast. No car is ever finished.
Yeah.
Either you sell it or you keep tinkering with it. And you're always going to try. Especially you've got all these aftermarket companies.
Hello.
Daisy.
Best friend. This
Get
chair
down.
might collapse under me, though.
Yes. And you've got so many aftermarket companies that are developing products. When the next latest and greatest thing comes out, whether it's a new supercharger, a new turbos, new whatever, you're gonna want that.
Well, then it's going to be a race to look what Whipple and Ford are doing. It's going to be a race to who can be in bed with the OEM, and then they're going to be king shit if that happens. They're going to be, that's your only option now. That kind of sucks too for the industry.
Yeah.
I really, really hope. We talked a bit about this at PRI. I really hope that Dodge can bring something to kind of show Ford and Chevy what's up. Because the ZR1, we just got the pricing on that, which is ridiculous. And obviously you got the GTD, which the pricing is ridiculous. But nonetheless, it's like these cars are awesome. So I'm excited to see where the industry goes.
Yeah. I mean, look at how the industry's pulled back on the EV side.
Huge. Oh, like a light switch.
Yeah. And now you're seeing a transition to hybrid, which hybrid has its place, and it's great. I mean, that having that instant power, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, an enthusiast is going to hear the sound of a car.
Right.
And I talking about my 4xe Jeeps, I have a blast off-roading with them, wheeling with them, and I think there's a lot of potential still there from, upgrading them, tuning them, everything like that. But do electric cars have their place? Sure. Could I daily drive an electric car? Yeah. But is there anything out there that I like right now? No. I think one of the platforms that I'm excited to drive is the Ram Charger. To be able to have, it's a fully electric truck, but then it's using the gas motor as a generator.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that one. See how that goes.
And so it's got plenty of power, and then you never have to worry about range anxiety.
Was it 600 or 900 mile range on it or something ridiculous like that?
Because you can run the EV out, and then the generator can kick on to recharge, and then if you run that out, you just fill it with gas, and you're good to go. And I think that's kind of where I see the market going. But then, how does the aftermarket integrate with that?
Yeah. Are you excited for the Hurricane to be in the new Charger?
Yes.
Are you going to try to dabble with that almost immediately, or are you just going to wait till someone brings you a project? Or
well, I think we've got some extra Hurricane engines. Kind of the next Hurricane project is I've got a 2-door Wrangler. We're going to throw one in because I think that'd be fun as hell.
Did you say 2-door Wrangler?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that one right there. I was wondering what's going to go in that. I'm like, I see a 2.0 in here. What's this all about?
Yeah, we're going to Hurricane swap that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, do I want to do that? Yeah, but would I rather throw a Demon motor in it? Yeah. I'd rather do that. I mean, I honestly I don't think anyone's going to take the time right now to gut the EV side, just because I feel like the cost there is just astronomical.
Well, you have to go around the packaging.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think people wait for the gas version and then figure out, are you pretty much bastardizing the car and cutting it up, yeah. But you know what's going to happen within 6 months of that. Like,
Yeah.
Within 6 months, you're going to see a Hellcat swap one.
Yeah.
Well, I saw an article that kept showing up on my Facebook. It's like, oh yeah, can a Hemi fit in the new Charger? And then everybody's like, yeah, it probably can.
I don't believe it does.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't think it fits.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how that shakes out.
Yeah.
But,
Are there some other people out there right now messing around with the Hurricane stuff?
Like once all the RHOs started getting delivered, like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, like it's all over right now. Everyone's doing the piggyback. So it's who can either do a standalone or crack it,
yeah.
or like that's the big thing right now. But yeah, no, like when we were at PRI, like like I was getting a million questions about it, and I'm like, it's a locked ECU currently.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I don't think it's going to take much longer to see someone get a little further into it.
Who are some of your like regular partners that you like working with? Because you've built a lot of relationships over the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long list.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
mean, there's the OEM side. Tires, like all my stuff runs Mickey Thompson's. Wheels, I've run Vision. I've run KMC. I've run Detroit Steel Wheel. I've run, I'm trying to think, Weld. On like part side, like in the off-road world, I do a lot with Rigid Industries, do a lot with Rock Crawler, do a lot with MB Court, do a lot with Steer Smarts, Catskin Leather, Gulf Coast Drive Shaft on pretty much all my cars, Tremec. Dude, that's a long list.
Yeah. Just send me an email.
Yeah,
an
like
Excel sheet.
like working with Magnuson right now
Yeah,
on
yep.
a supercharger. I could keep going.
Yeah.
Just kind of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Well, again, I keep coming back to this. Like, it's been, since 2012 or whatever. It's like you've done quite a bit in arguably a short period of time, even though some days might be long.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my question to you is what kind of allows you to do that? Is it just that you come to the table with ideas, you care about helping the other side, a combination of that?
I would say it's a combination. Like when we're putting like a proposal together for build, because sometimes like the OEMs will reach out to me and say, hey, like we're going to provide this vehicle, what can you do with it? And so that's when I will put a full deck together of, these are the partners, these are who we're going to use, this is the events we're going to, like, is there a partnership that you want to be involved with? Do I want to purchase stuff? Like, it's all good, but it's creating those, I want those relationships to last as long as they can. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it's just, it's, your word's everything. And so, and I think like a lot of people like from a manufacturing side get burned by people not holding up their end of whatever deal that has been put together. And so that's kind of like always my big thing is like, I'll have people reach out to me, oh, can you get me, these parts? And I'm like, no. Like, are you doing it just because, or are actually like you going to be out there like marketing for them? Mm-hmm. I just don't want someone who just wants like a part for vehicle just because. Like I want to make sure they're going to be an ambassador for that brand.
Mm-hmm. We've done a lot of collaboration with like influencers and such. But now you mentioned like that you're going to build out like your content side of things now with 5 O'Clock Garage. What's that going to look like? I
think it's gonna be a variety of just I feel like I'm kind of I cover the whole kind of automotive side of things. It's going to be, I think, one, like, what we do with the vehicles, but also like how we modify them and how, if like showcasing like companies' products, following along with the builds, following along with our issues. Yes, do we want to go out there and have fun like I'm going to be doing this weekend? Absolutely. But also to be informative to like why we use certain parts. So that's kind of, and just keep people interested. I mean, it's like one of the big things that, you always run in, I feel like the industry has seen is it's also really hard to get good employees across the board. It's just going back to like people want to be in automotive, but then when it comes to the work, that's, do you really want to do it? And I think that's kind of where we want to go with the content side is, again, like being a brand ambassador, but also being fun and having fun with all of our projects. That's my big thing is like, do I love going fast and fun? Yeah. Am I worried about like winning some drag race event? No. Like I want to, like I was telling you guys earlier, like there's always going to be someone faster. I just want to make sure I'm always like, is it fun? And if it's not fun, then I'm not going to do it. You only got so much time.
What's the best bang for buck fun you've ever had? Surf and turf.
Surf and turf. Like, from a car standpoint, I mean, that's the most fun car, I think.
The Demon?
Yeah. That thing isn't, like, you don't need to do anything to it. No, I mean, between that or, like, a Wrangler, like my diesel Gladiator, like, that thing is, it's on 40s, and it's a great daily driver, and I can off-road it anywhere. But no, from like a standpoint of like a car value, I mean, like C6 Corvettes, C7 Corvettes, and then like you get into like the 392s, like Charger Challenger. Like, I mean, there's not a car out there that you can get a better value for. And like, you can't beat those. You go out and, have fun with them, drift them, sounds good, they're comfortable, and you're not putting a whole lot of money in it.
Yeah.
One thing that makes me so mad is when the Europeans start talking about like American interiors, and granted, they're right most of the time.
Yep.
But dude, until you're in like a wide body Charger with the Napa leather and everything, I like that.
Oh, the seats are incredible.
Flying couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best part. Like, you can drive those things all day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I love American muscle. I mean, price point for everything like sucks right now. And so that's kind of like, I feel like when people ask me, oh, what new car I should buy, I'm like, what's your budget? Like, there's so many used cars out there that are a great value still.
Everything starts at 60,000 nowadays.
Yeah. And that's like, like there's a lot of cars out there that are house payments.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, like, most of the time I'm driving my old Audi A6. Gets great gas mileage. I don't care. It gets me from A to B.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you have a out time here shortly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, before we do our usual three, is there anything else that you want to touch
Yeah.
on there?
What do you think built your network the most? Would it be M1? Just that whole process?
I would say a lot of it is M1, and then just, figuring out what events to go to and just putting myself out there and, getting uncomfortable. So I was like, you got to get uncomfortable and, put yourself in situations that you're not used to, and then learn to get comfortable with it. So then, you can learn how to approach people, how to talk to them. But yeah, I would say between M1 and just going to a lot of shows and not being afraid to talk to people.
Yeah. They say that the people that do that tend to live a little bit longer.
I hope so.
Unless you fall out of a Black Hawk helicopter in the mountains, then it might
that
change
would
things.
Yeah.
All right, what's going on here?
Daisy,
Being all seductive.
come here.
What's the most uncomfortable thing you've done? I'm just making you rack your memory today, I know.
Oh man, I would say probably like the biggest like pucker moment when I was wheeling that Wagoneer in Moab, and I had it up. It had one wheel off the ground and it started tilting, and everyone's like, "Stop! We want to take a photo," and I'm like, "I'm gonna kill all of you." And like, that was the pucker moment, because if it went, I was rolling over and down a 700-foot cliff in the Colorado River. So I'd probably say that one.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
That was pretty sketch.
Yeah. Have you ever been to like Pikes Peak or anything yet?
Not yet.
Not yet? Yeah, just build a time attack car or something.
One day.
Yeah.
In due time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the next few years are going to get rowdy for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Dan, you want to pop the usual three?
Yeah, absolutely.
This might be the most absurd one yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so at the end of every episode, we like to ask our guests to pick 3 cars. I'm just fucking that up this week.
Here, I'll let you restart it.
All right. At the end of every episode, we like to ask our guests to pick 3 cars: a daily driver, a track car, and a show car. You have an unlimited budget. You can build whatever you want, swap whatever you want.
Unlimited budget. Daily driver. I mean, because I don't really give a shit when it comes to daily, like what my car would be for a daily driver. Daily driver. Let me think here. Dude, I want like a semi truck, like a Kenworth. I would daily drive like a Peterbilt, something like that, just a fully custom truck. Like, yeah, that's stupid, but I feel like that'd be just the most fun.
There's gonna be like, that truck never has a load on it for some reason.
Yeah. Track car. P1.
Okay.
I love the McLaren P1. I think that thing's awesome. and then show car.
Is that what we saw in Vegas in the showroom at the McLaren thing? in the
No,
hotel?
no, that was like a special edition 720. That was like a one of like 10 in the world or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like a show car.
No, 765. That's what it was.
Okay.
I would say, like, just off the top of my head, it was at Autorama last year. Corrupt Builds did a Hellcat Swap 300, and it was like everything he did about it. Like it was like gray, and like it was like a gloss gray and then matte.
Mhm.
Dude, thing was gangster. Like that car, I fell in love with. You know, and then I was like I would say between that. Okay, there's probably one car if I had, I would, it would be like an F40. I love the Ferrari F40. Or, no, but yeah, F40. I don't know. It's kind of between that or the F50.
We're gonna go take a coffee break. You think on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say, you know, the problem is I would daily drive everything.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Well, you have a
them
good
all,
take.
If you have all three of them, you can, nobody's going to be mad at you if you pick a different one to drive for the day.
But from a daily though, if I had one thing, I'd definitely want to drive a semi every day. That'd be sweet.
You have to get a horn. Toot toot.
Oh, for
everywhere.
sure.
Yeah.
Have you driven one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't say helicopter for daily driver.
I haven't done that yet. One day.
One day.
I'm going to get my pilot's license.
Well, I have to make you pick now, F40 or F50. Got to lock that in.
F50.
F50. I've been hearing that more and more from this generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, F50.
Yeah. Well, on that note, where can everybody find you?
Motor City Mad on Instagram, and then from the shop page, 5 o'clock garage.
Okay.
So.
Sweet.
And if somebody wanted to order stickers and all that shit, still go to 5 o'clock, or where would they
Yeah,
go to
so we're actually building a new website right now, and then through that, it'll break out into all of the different brands we work with, and then you can contact us for anything custom.
that? Okay.
So, yeah.
Sweet.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. Where can people find you, Matt? Or not Matt. Matt? Dan? It's got, you're not the
yeah.
only one fucking up this week.
Yeah, that's right. You can find us at Gunnet Garage. I'm going to go take the sleds out on the lake hopefully this weekend so we can get some kind of snowmobile shit going and go from there. I'm going to have my own little mini
I'll send you some
snow day.
pics this weekend.
Yeah. Gonna rub it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of Dan's goodbye sentiments start with "I hope" and then sled, and then nothing ever happens.
Well, after last year, man, just left me fiending, and now I'm getting teased this year, and it's not quite happening yet.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of snow right now, at least in these parts.
And everybody and anybody is in the UP right now, so I don't even want to go up there. That's too many assholes for me. So,
Well, sweet. Matt, thank you for making
You guys are
this
welcome.
happen. Glad
Appreciate
you
you coming here.
had us. Dan, thanks for existing, and we'll see y'all next time.